Hello! My name is Felicity Mowen. I'm in grade 12, obviously, and this is my capstone presentation, I guess. Well, it's mainly just like my capstone journey. I guess I'll explain that. Um, just a forewarning, there's not going to be like a lot of text and stuff. They're going to be pretty boring slides because I tend to talk a lot. So hopefully that will sort of like, balance it out so you can listen to my voice more rather than reading text on a screen. And also, yes, I am standing on the top floor of my bunk bed because that's the only clear spot in my room and my script is on a stuffed dog. So, we'll see how this goes. So let's just switch the slide here. So, for the beginnings of my project, it did not come easy. Probably like a lot of you who are going to watch this, like totally didn't know what you're going to do for your capstone, because I didn't, because I didn't quite understand what it was, but I did much later into my project. So, for the beginning, my first main big idea was to create a tree that depicted the paths of life that were available to me. And to like further research those and stuff. Like the main idea was that I could create something, but both myself and other people could use as inspiration for what choices individuals have to pursue past their secondary school life. And this also helped me into my transition plan, which is on my next slide. A lot of things, like when I first drafted my transition plan, were up in the air because I wasn't really sure what I was doing, mainly because a lot of the schools I applied to hadn't really like gotten back to me yet. But then at the end, I have ended up choosing to go to UBC. So I am going to be attending UBC in September, hopefully to major in history in their arts program. And then after that, possibly I might do a master's somewhere if that interests me, and then hopefully enrolling in a teacher's education program somewhere so I can be a teacher someday, which is what my capstone project is about. My transition plan was also kind of hard because I had like been looking into UVic and I really liked UVic and they'd offered me a scholarship, so that was really cool. But in the end, UBC got back to me and they ended up offering me more money than UVic did, so I was like, whoa, okay, so I guess I'm going to UBC, which is really awesome, and I'm super excited and I hope to see some of you guys there. That would be really cool. Okay. So, a timeline. It's a little bit like mishmashed and like some of the stuff goes in some of the other places, but whatever. Um, so for the first time period, that November to January section right there, it was really essential for me to actually like focus on what my capstone was going to be, and obviously I chose against the tree option, and this is where I ended up choosing what I wanted to do. It was actually Miss Milne in the library who really like talked to me about what my topic really should be, because she knew that I was interested in social studies and like history and all that. She's like, well, maybe you should do something on that instead, and I was like, you know what, maybe you're right. And of course, I had talked to like a lot of my teachers, and they thought that that would probably be a better idea too. So that's when I started doing most of my core research for that. And then from January to early March, that's when I was doing like a lot of doing, like I went out and I did stuff. I went to seminars and universities, and I was with my sister doing stuff, doing tours and interviews with people, talking to my teachers, just a lot of talking, and I thought that was really useful for me to get some like insider knowledge as to like what I wanted like my project to look like, so that like other people sort of had like an idea of what I was doing. And I thought that was real helpful to me because I think advice is a really good sort of way to learn stuff and stuff like that. So that was really interesting. One thing I was really bummed out about is my sister works as a TA at UBC, so I was supposed to go watch one of her lectures. Like, she was actually going to teach a class and I was supposed to go, but that was in late March, so that got canceled, and I was really upset about it because I was like, oh my god, can't even see my sister teach a class. So I guess that's one of the hardships that came with doing this whole thing during the coronavirus, is I really couldn't do a lot of the stuff that had come up last minute because like all of it ended up being canceled. So I think that was really disappointing. And of course, I never actually got to do my capstone project, I guess, or like my capstone presentation, because I had planned on actually teaching my class sometime last month in April, but there wasn't any school in April, so I could never do it. I had thought about doing it maybe online, like doing an online teaching class, but that was just, I felt like there was a lot of pressure on that, and I feel like that would be too stressful on me. So personally, I didn't feel like that was the best idea, and I thought that like the journey was probably going to be more important than the actual project in itself. Okay. My essential question for my project was, how can I make social studies interesting and engaging for students while ensuring my intentions stay true in the process? Um, Basically, like trying to find different teaching styles and methods of assessing students that prove valuable for the teacher, which in this case would have been myself, and the students. And what I mean by intentions is that keeping things smooth for myself and my students was like top priority. Like, what can I do to make sure that my work that I'm assigning and doing on myself isn't too much for me mentally and for my students? So like, what is like the core balance between like assigning work and like making sure that there's like not too much on their plate, sort of thing. So that was like the main focus, was to make sure that I had a good balance between like what the different aspects of my project would look like. And my project in itself, here we go, was to create full lesson plans and PowerPoints to teach a History 8 class about parts of the Renaissance and the Reformation, which were both key parts in history. I'd created one PowerPoint on the Reformation and the most important parts of it, like, for example, Martin Luther's importance and the beginnings of Protestantism. I'd also begun a PowerPoint on the leaders of Europe during the Reformation and their viewpoints, taking more of a focus on like the English monarchy and the Church of England. Along with actually teaching students, I wanted to like develop a mock assignment for them to do, to really like see how they were taking in the information that I was giving them, and just to practice myself on the importance of what to expect from other people, especially from these, younger students who've just gone into high school. Like, I don't know, maybe they're more nervous or something. How do I, sort of incorporate a good amount of learning into these assignments, but also not making sure it's not too much on them. So that was like a really big part in the assignments, and also the mock marking, which sort of feeds into that. So how has like not presenting affected me? Being a student during this pandemic, like many of you watching, it's really difficult. There's like an abundance of homework and stuff, but I think that just like has really sort of enhanced like the value that I put on teachers, because I think it's really stressful for them too. And like, if something like this ever happens again, how am I going to deal with it? That's part of being a teacher. You need to like be able to work through stressful situations, and I think that was such like a valuable thing to have happen. I mean, it sucks. Like, it really does suck that like I can't teach and like actually like, be there, right? But to have this happen has really made me think about the profession and like what I'm really getting myself into, which I think was such a good thing for me to experience, because teaching isn't just about teaching. It's about like, establishing connections with your students and the people around you, and like how can you be a support system to other students or teachers or stuff like this during this time. So I think that was like really, I don't know, I guess like eye-opening to me, to be able to like go through this. But it sucks to have actually gotten to like do my capstone, but I guess maybe this is my capstone, the whole journey and documenting it. So I think that ended up being really cool. So another big important part is who has helped me during this project, and the biggest one would have to be my mentor, who is Mr. Moon. He's an awesome social studies teacher at Van Tech, and really, it was such an easy choice for me to have him be my mentor because ultimately I see him as a mentor already in my personal life, and I think I just value him a lot, and he's just someone I can look up to. And, I don't really know many other socials teachers, so I feel like he was probably the obvious choice. And he's the one I would feel most comfortable going with my questions and my inquiries and, all that stuff, and I think he was really valuable to have to help me throughout this whole thing. And of course I CS for him, which made it convenient, I guess, to be able to have that class available for me to teach, which I think was awesome, and I think those kids were really great. So I feel like that would have been a fun experience. But I think overall, just the advice that I've gotten from him during this whole experience has been really great, and he's always been such a great support system to me, and I think that's been really valuable. So I'm thanking him a lot for that. He was a really big help during my presentation, and just overall, been a really big help to me and during this process. But there's another person that I also want to mention who I've discussed before is my sister. She's honestly probably superhuman. She's so smart. My sister Gloria, she's amazing. I've been talking to her a lot more recently, especially over text and stuff, because she actually lives at UBC and she works there. So I think she's such a great insight to have during the scary time to find more information about what my new school year is going to look like this year at UBC at a bigger school. But either way, I think it'll be a really great experience. And she's really been there, holding my hand and helping me and stuff. So, I'm really grateful for her and the opportunities that she's given me. And hopefully eventually I can see her teach, which would be really great. So, I'm definitely looking forward to that. What challenges have I had during this? Well, obviously committing to a topic was the biggest one, because in the beginning, I had a tough time focusing in on something that I thought would be super cool for me. Staying motivated, definitely, especially now, to be able to just get up and film this thing was really hard for me to do. Because, it's so easy to just sit down and, watch YouTube videos all day, which, trust me, I've been doing. There's a lot of assignments I haven't handed in. But I think it's been really tough, and it was tough even before, just having things be so open-ended, but overall it's worked out, And just finding time, during the school year, I had a job that I would work 4 days a week, so I wouldn't really have any free days to do stuff, so I'd have to fit in my homework around there, and that was really tough to be able to fit in research and going out and doing stuff. But I did it, and ultimately I think having that job really enhanced the way I saw my project anyway, because it just made me be grateful for the time that I did have it, right? What's next for me? So really this project, I guess, has really been such an awesome blueprint for me to have for the future. It really has given me an insight into teaching, and I think it's really valuable information for me to have carrying on through my next years of university and what I want to do after university and all that stuff. And I think just having done this during the coronavirus situation has made me grow stronger, and I think it has made me value a lot of things more, and I think it'll be a good experience for me to take on into the future, because I think us as the class of 2020 have so much more valuable life lessons to take through the future. We might not have all of that fun stuff, which I'm actually super upset about, but I think ultimately people are going to remember us the most. So, not to brag or anything, but I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, I think it's been a great project all around, and I think I'm pretty proud of the way it's ended up, and I think I don't really have any regrets. I think I really did the best that I could. So I think with that's it. And, I hope to see some of you in the fall at UBC, or, just around social media or Facebook or whatever, because I'm going to miss you guys. It's been fun. I think it's been a good 5 years, and I think this grade 12 year will be something we'll all remember. So thank you for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed my capstone journey.